Today on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's an arms race in the Bay Area as the Atlanta Braves' Tim Hudson looks to go K for K with two-time Cy Young Award winner Tim Lincecum. While in St. Louis, it's an NL Central rivalry renewed when the Reds come to town.
And now it is turning ugly.
You want offense? We got offense. Get ready for a battle of MVPs when Joey Votto and the Reds take on the red-hot Albert Pujols and the Cards. And in the Motor City, it's an early season AL Central battle as the White Sox big bats look to tame Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. No need to hop anywhere this Easter weekend. Fox Saturday Baseball starts right now. Welcome to the Budweiser pregame show on Fox. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. For the first time this season, we visit the home of the defending World Series champs. It is a divisional playoff rematch from a season ago when the Giants beat the Braves in 4 games. And I don't care how old you are. I'm 40. I still bring my mitt to the game. Come on over here. In fact, that's probably the only way I could catch a home run ball out here with a mitt that size. And with that, hi, everybody. We welcome you to San Francisco for another live edition of Fox Saturday Baseball. In just a few minutes, some of you are going to stay out here by the Bay to see a pair of all-star pitchers named Tim. Hudson goes for the Braves, Lincecum for the Giants. We also have afternoon baseball in St. Louis, which is nothing short of a miracle when you consider what happened last night in that city. A tornado ripped right through the town, including the airport, which should reopen tomorrow. The best news of all, there were no fatalities. Now, somehow, the teams actually played a game last night with St. Louis winning the opener. And guess what? The tarp is actually coming off the field, so the Reds and Cardinals, they are slated for an on-time start. The rest of you will see a pair of all-star first basemen battle in Motown. Paul Konerko and Miguel Cabrera. Remember, they were second and third in the AL in homers a season ago, so it should be a blast. And a great pitching matchup here by the Bay. 3-time All-Star Tim Hudson, he is going to have to be at his best to outduel Tim Lincecum, who struck out 14 Braves in winning the playoff opener against Atlanta last season. Now, speaking of Lincecum, in his last start against Colorado, he whiffed 10 Rockies, and in the process, he tied Christy Matheson's franchise record in double-digit strikeout games with 28. The most amazing thing about that stat, Matheson pitched 17 seasons for the Giants. For Lincecum, this is just his 5th year. Well, time right now to get inside the head of the freak to find out what makes the perfect K.
Tim Lincecum. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
You're in a jam with runners on third base, 1 or no outs. You need to strike out just to keep that 0 on the board intact.
Swung on and missed. Strikes out the side.
You're definitely a little bit more hyped up. Obviously, you want to get that first out, but getting a strikeout in a big situation like that is pivotal to, like I said, keeping that 0 intact.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
They're pretty much trying to give him something that he can't hit, something that he can't put into play very well. Trying to bring their best stuff to the table. Maybe not so much physically, but definitely focused a little bit more on the pitch at hand.
Once I get those 2 strikes, you got to get the out and be a strikeout. I still go to that same spot where it's just utter confidence. I don't think there's anything better than getting a strikeout to end an inning.
The ball game is over.
Well, Tim Lincecum is the only San Francisco Giants pitcher ever to lead the National League in strikeouts, and he has done it in each of the last 3 seasons. A lot of day ball to get you all caught up on around the big leagues. We start out on the north side of Chicago, Dodgers and Cubs. Matt Kemp, what an amazing start to his season. A Major League best 407, including his 5th homer of the year. Just as hot as Andre Ethier. Extends his hit streak to 20 games. Best for a Dodger since Nomar in 06, and the Dodgers lead it in the 8th. North of the border, it's the Rays and the Jays, and Jose Bautista. 54 long balls a year ago, 2 today to give him an AL best 7. But Ben Zobrist says, you know what, that was only a solo shot. How about a 3-run jack? His 4th of the year, and Tampa back within 1 of 500 after the 6-4 win. After an hour and 21-minute rain delay, the Mets and Diamondbacks got going this afternoon at City, and Jason Bay, welcome back, his first homer since last June. He has 3 RBIs. Next hitter, Ike Davis, and like to be like Ike. I would like to be like Ike, his 4th of the year, and the Mets lead it 4-3 in the 5th. One other game completed this afternoon. The AL Central cellar dwellers, the Minnesota Twins, beat the best team in that division, the Cleveland Indians, 10-3 behind 7 strong from Brian Dunsing. We will keep you updated on all the afternoon baseball, but coming up next, it is your game. Which one are you going to get? Some of you stay out here in San Francisco for a rematch of last year's divisional series. Others will get Joey Votto and Albert Pujols going swing for swing in St. Louis. The rest get the Sox and the Tigers. Your game is next on Fox.
Their opponent, a seemingly perennial postseason team, the young and pitching-rich Atlanta Braves. And we welcome you to San Francisco. I'm Josh Lewin. Tim Hudson is on the mound for the Braves today, a 17-game winner a year ago, 3-time All-Star, and not even the best Tim pitching in this game today. Let's bring in Eric Karros here and his wall of hair. Who better to talk about Tim Lincecum in that measure, I suppose? This guy's unbelievable.
Well, he really is. You know, this is a guy, 2 Cy Young Awards. He's led the league in strikeouts the last 3 seasons, but he may be pitching better right now. He's 2-1 so far in the season, and the one game that he lost, he didn't even give up an earned run. Coming off a great performance against Colorado, he's doing it with the fastball, about 93, 94, and then he's got that devastating changeup, which acts like a splitter.
Atlanta not hitting really at all this year, and they had Lincecum today, but is this for real? Is Atlanta this bad at the plate?
No, I think they're going to hit. They'd run into some tough pitching at Kershaw the other day, as you mentioned, Lincecum today, but Freddie Freeman, he hasn't had much trouble. Started off a bit slow, but in his last 15 games, hitting at a 350 clip, a slugging percentage of over 600, this guy could be the Rookie of the Year.
6 months ago, the Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants met in an epic postseason series. It really had it all. There was dominating pitching. There were some clutch home runs. There were splashdowns and there were celebrations, tomahawk chops, emotional moments. And at the end, a fond farewell. Braves and Giants renew acquaintances next on Fox. Today's starting lineup for the Braves brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. No Chipper Jones today. A planned day off. He turns 39 years old tomorrow. He sits today. Martin Prado at third base leads it off. Hayward and Freeman, the 21-year-olds. Brian McCann having a great start. Then there's Dan Ugla. Eric Hinsky. You've got Gonzalez, McLeod, and the pitcher Tim Hudson, who can actually hit a little bit. The opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Game time temperature and the man on the mound's uniform number pretty close. 55. There is Tim Lincecum. And that carpet of hair that he has. 1.67 ERA. And he's high to begin things here this afternoon. Well, scout him out, Mr. Karras.
Well, he's got to maintain his velocity. He's been about 94 at the beginning of the game. Has to continue that velocity when he gets into the 6th and the 7th. So far, he's been able to do that this year. Be careful with Brian McCann. McCann, of all the Atlanta hitters, has figured out Tim Lincecum.
Jim Joyce is your home plate umpire, and that high-pitched strike call will be bellowed out, I bet, a lot today, with Hudson pitching for the Braves, Lincecum for San Francisco. That will not get you a bellow right there. He's upstairs 3-1. We mentioned Jim Joyce has home plate. Ron Culpa, your first base umpire, and you saw that video from St. Louis during the pregame show. Ron Culpa is very proudly a St. Louis native. Was scared to death, he said, watching the footage. A walk to begin things for the Braves. Martin Prado is on. Jason Hayward comes up next. Today's defensive alignment for the Giants is brought to you by Scott's. Test, check 1, 2. How's that for you? Now note that it's Eli Whiteside, and it's not Buster Posey today. And again, Eric, same as we said about Chipper Jones, they planned a day off.
Okay. Well, Buster Posey deserves a day off. He's caught the most innings of any big league catcher and gets a breather today.
Runner goes. Whiteside throws. Put it right there. Prado never got to the bag.
Well, unusual to see an Atlanta Brave attempting to steal a base. They don't run a lot. But Tim Lincecum, one of the pitchers in the National League that you can take advantage of his windup, usually slow to the plate. The way Prado looks in may have been a hit and run in that situation, but Whiteside blowing him up at second base.
Whiteside in for Posey. And Posey, of course, will be forever tied in with the guy at the plate right now, Jason Hayward. Hayward last year, as he takes up an outside, was 1-2 with Buster Posey in the Rookie of the Year balloting. And those guys go back all the way to their high school playing days in the state of Georgia. Boy, it's weird to see Lincecum start this way. That's only his third strike of 10 pitches thrown. Two walks to start the game. Freddie Freeman will come up next. There's a great look at a great ballpark. We're up to 61 degrees now. Well, Lincecum opens up walking Prado, but gets the break when Prado is caught stealing. And you're right, EK. The Braves really don't run at all. They've got 5 stolen bases for the whole year. No one with 2. You've got 5 guys with 1.
Well, and now you've got Jason Hayward at first base. A lot of speed, but not necessarily a base stealer. I'd hold him at first, leave that right side of the infield open for the left-handed hitting Freddie Freeman.
Boy, in on the hands with a 95-mile-an-hour heat. And remember, Lincecum was blazing that fastball at the Rockies, flicking that changeup at him this past Monday to the tune of 6 1/3 no-hit innings. He's coming off of that. Infield, a double play depth. And Lincecum missing in. 94 that time. Fastball, slider, change.
Well, and remember that change, he calls it a change, but it has the action of a split finger fastball. It just really drops off the table. And if you look at his grip, grips it very similar to a split finger.
That one dropping outside. He's behind another Atlanta hitter. The Braves have not been a good team yet this year getting on base. They're dead last in the league in on-base percentage. Stark contrast to last year. They led the league in 2010. Runner not going. And maybe he should have been. 4, 6, 3, got it. Little rocky off the top for Tim Lincecum with a couple of walks, but no damage done. Bell think outside the bun. Aaron Rowan keeps on playing center field with Andres Torres on the shelf. Freddie Sanchez off to a nice start, hitting .311. You've got Huff, Sandoval, and Pat Burrell. Cody Ross is back off the DL. Miguel Tejada out there at short again, but he's been struggling. Eli Whiteside in for Buster Posey today. And Tim Lincecum will swing the bat against Tim Hudson, who has had some uncharacteristic first inning issues so far in 2011. And Eric Karras, I guess that's why the ERA is up above 4.
Well, it really is, and he's been dominant after the third inning. But as you mentioned, that first inning has been a sort of Achilles heel. That second inning hasn't gone so well either. This guy's got great stuff. He has to get through the first inning. He can't put his team behind. Tim Hudson, a sinker, slider type guy, going to get a lot of ground balls. He keeps it low when he is effective.
Incredible, but Hudson's given up almost as many hits in the first inning this year as every other inning combined. And this is a Giants team that, for whatever reason, Eric, so far has been out quick. Seemingly every game, they're outscoring their opponents, 21-3 in the first inning. Well, Hudson cut his teeth across the bay in Oakland. Boy, he was dynamite over there. 92-39 as an Oakland Athletic. And he deals to Aaron Rowan. Actually, Hudson at one point 51-17 for Oakland. Atlanta hasn't quite gotten that. But last year, coming off Tommy John surgery, 17-9 with a second best ERA of a very good career, down around 2.8. Rifled into center and backpedaling. There's McLeod. He's got it. Rest of the way defensively. Let's check it out. Brought to you by Scott's. Hinsky gets a chance in left field. Martin Prado again because Chipper Jones is sitting at third. Gonzalez, Ugla, Freeman. Hudson works to Brian McCann, who's been fantastic so far. You kind of hinted at it, Eric. Hudson's not really a strikeout guy. A lot of ground ball outs usually.
Well, what he is he's
a miss the barrel type guy. You can make contact off him, but very often, you know, it's in on the hands, off the end of the bat. You don't usually square him up.
There's one of those that's tough to put in play, at least for any kind of authority.
I think I was looking at a number last year. I believe he was 4th in the majors with batting average of balls put in play. There's a statistic for that.
BAPIP, batting average put in
something
play.
like, but you know, that's even better. When you're a fielder, you want to be involved, and if you got a guy just throwing balls past guys, I mean, it's nice, but you get flat-footed as a fielder. You like to be involved, and Tim Hudson keeps his fielders involved.
There's exactly what you're talking about. You can put it in play, but it's going to look like that. Right in on the wrists of Freddie Sanchez.
You see, this pitch just runs in. It starts out over the middle of the plate. It's got that running in action to the right-handed hitter. Freddie Sanchez, an excellent hitter, a batting title winner. Can't do much with that. Fists it off his hands.
Only once in Hudson's outstanding career has he punched out even 170 in a season. As he deals to Huff up and outside. Lincecum, just to compare it, I guess, Eric, had 170 strikeouts by early August last year. Boy, not even close. Spot him dropping out of that. There's the guy that guided the Giants to that World Series win last year, Mr. Bruce Bochy. One more win and he's a 500 guy.
Well, and that's an understatement when you say he guided the Giants. I mean, everything he did in September and October was right. Whether it was pitching moves, resting a guy, pinch hitting, he was magic.
1-2 coming into Huff. Gets around, nails it into right. The right at Hayward to end the inning. A 10-pitch inning for Hudson. Other Tim will take a turn. Lincecum next on Fox. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. By Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. And by Verizon. Power your business with Verizon 4G LTE. 127th start for Tim Lincecum in his big league career. And Eric, it's the first time ever in 127 that he has walked the first two batters of one of those starts. But he did not get hurt by that in the first inning.
Got out of it unscathed. Nobody reached second base. But that's the kind of stuff he has. He can get himself into a jam. And he can pitch himself right out of it.
Now, facing a guy that's had some semblance of success against him in the past, Brian McCann, 8 out of 21. Not a lot of guys in baseball can claim 8 out of 21 against the Freak. And really, other than Chipper Jones, McCann is, I would say, Eric, the only Brave hitting with any means of consistency so far.
Well, I agree. The production for the Braves for the most part of the season has been in that 3-4 spot, Jones and McCann.
Lincecum gets the ground ball out. Dan Uggla will come up next. Well, Lincecum had that tone-setting Game 1 win in the NLDS against these Braves a year ago. And he is seeing the Braves for the first time today since carving him up Ginsu style in last year's playoffs. That was some kind of game.
Well, it really was. And that was the slider, that forkball, fastball in the mid-90s. You know, very difficult as a hitter to try to protect against all three of those pitches.
Uggla checks and takes a strike. Well, I'm talking to Bruce Bochy, too. What he remembers about all that, Eric, is just how high the bar got set for every other starter that he would run out there the rest of that month of October. It's almost like Lincecum said, all right, boys, follow this example.
Well, you know, you can even go back to the month of September is when it started. And I think, you know, the rest of us, when I say the rest of us, we looked at September from a media standpoint and said, well, that's a nice run, but is that going to continue? And it got better in October as far as pitching for the Giants.
Lincecum kind of developed or redeveloped the slider. The grip of Matt Cain's became the grip that he used. And boy, that became a sinister pitch. Down on strikes is Dan Uggla. They brought him in to hit lefties. He's not really doing that yet. 2 down, and let's check today's Ford keys to the game.
Well, the Braves can't hit everything. What I mean by that, you go up and face Tim Lincecum, you got to look for one pitch. You can't protect against all 3 pitches. The Giants get to this Braves ball club early. That bullpen of Atlanta's, although young, it's one of the best in the big leagues.
Did you notice, by the way, Lincecum now 7 straight strikes here in the second inning after he was all over the place to start the first. And that on appeal is a strike. Eric Hinsky finds himself behind 0-2.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Don't go up there trying to protect the plate. Go up there looking for a pitch. Sit on a fastball. If you don't get a fastball until you get 2 strikes, don't swing.
Boy, and for Hinsky, who doesn't get many starts, thank you very little, right? You get Tim Lincecum today.
As is the case with most utility guys, they get that draw against the other team's top pitcher.
Last year, Lincecum had double-digit losses for the first time. His ERA was higher than he's used to seeing, but he won the deciding game of the World Series. Fans dig him because he's so charismatic. Hitters, not so much because of that. After walking 2 to start the game, double play, ground out, then a couple of the things he's known for, the strikeout. Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Josh Lewin along with Eric Karros. Chris Rose, the third member of our broadcast unit today. And Kung Fu Panda at the plate, Mr. Sandoval. High ball, strike one from Tim Hudson. What's left of Pablo Sandoval? He has dropped the weight he is needed to catch up to inside fastballs. Already 5 home runs for Sandoval. Last year he didn't hit number 5 till the middle of June. Ahead in the count, 2-1. Three and 1 the count. I'm talking to Bruce Bochy before the game and how excited he was to hear that Sandoval was so committed to, quote, never getting fat again. Slaps it over to third base, and there's Prado. Now, keeping the weight off will go a long way, I suppose. About 275 last year. He's at 240 this year.
Well, and he's having the early success. So what that does is, for him, that validates the hard work that he put in during the winter. Nothing like working hard and having the success, and you say, you know what, it's worth it.
That's true. If he drops all the weight and he's hitting 190, it's like, why did I do all that?
Yeah, it's like back to eating for me. Shoot.
Don't think Mr. Bochy would have liked that, though. 1-strike pitch to Burrell. That dips down and outside. Burrell, like Sandoval, 5 home runs. The Giants are actually hitting for power early here in 2011. And I guess what's weird, Eric, is their pitching's been actually a little bit off. But they've been top 3 in the National League in home runs pretty much right from the first few days of the season.
Well, I was kidding Pat yesterday, though, at the batting cages. You know, he's hitting all the solo home runs. You know, mix in some RBIs with some guys on, get a hold of it. But I'll tell you, you know, getting up there, and remember Tampa Bay released him last year, but off to a quick start as far as the power is concerned.
Lays off. Yeah, I think Burrell acknowledges he's one of those cast-offs. He failed in Tampa Bay, but here in San Francisco, what do you have, 18 home runs and about 280 at-bats last year?
Just not the right situation for him in Tampa Bay. Used mostly as a DH, and to try to get acclimated to that after being an everyday guy, being out in the field, I mean, it's not an easy transition, and some guys don't make that transition.
One way or another, though, he's been in some World Series with different teams the last 2 years. Off speed, and that is inside the chalk. Burrell on his way to second base. Boy, he waited on it, and he's got the first hit of the afternoon.
Really not that bad of a pitch. Burrell just goes down and actually hooks it. You can see that angle goes around third base over into the bullpen area. It's because he's out in front. Like I said, almost swings around it. You know, Tim Hudson isn't happy, obviously, with the result, but really not a bad pitch.
And Prado playing far enough off the line that even a dive I don't think was going to do him any good. Here's Cody Ross. Runner at second and 1 out. Into center field it goes. Burrell chugs around third, being waved. Relay, too late. The first hit of the year for Cody Ross knocks in Pat Burrell.
This is a fastball that comes out. It starts outside, comes over the middle of the plate. Nate McLeod, I'd like to see him go after that ball a little quicker and come up and make a stronger throw. I don't think he anticipated third base coach Tim Flannery sending Pat Burrell. But all the way, Tim Flannery saying, you got to go, you got to go. Pat Burrell hustling all the way in. I think right there, though, that they caught the Braves off guard, and specifically center fielder Nate McLeod.
I agree. Burrell's not the kind of guy that you'd assume is going to be waved on a play like that, but Flannery sold it hard. Now look out. Almost got him at first. Flannery's going to run right along with him.
You know, back in the series that Atlanta just had in Los Angeles, first inning, Tim Hudson on the mound. Ball hit the center field. Nate McLeod come charging, but wasn't able to throw the runner out at home. And I guarantee you, Tim Hudson out on the mound, that's going through his head. You know, he's thinking, man, there's some plays that I need my defense to make. And he's not going to say anything because he's a professional, but I guarantee he'd like to see that play made.
And as you articulated last inning, balls are going to be put in play off of Tim Hudson. He's not a guy that's going to have a 14 strikeout game like Tim Lincecum. Even on a base hit, there are ways to minimize damage.
Well, and I think with Tim Flannery sending Pat Burrell in that situation, you get an indication of the way each of these managers are going to play the game. I mean, you have an opportunity to score, you take advantage of it, because these two pitchers are stingy guys as far as giving up runs.
Miguel Tejada off to a miserable start as a San Francisco Giant. Of course, across the bay as an Oakland A way back when. He was unbelievable. But you're talking about a guy that right now is one for his last 18. He's at 209 for a batting average so far.
Well, and Bruce Bochy said he felt like Miguel was pressing right now, trying to do too much. That's why he put him out there today, a day game following a night game, just to try to show him some confidence. Say, look, Miggy, you're our guy. You're our shortstop. Just go out there and relax.
He hits into a ton of double plays. This one hit slowly enough that it might not be. He does beat it at first base, but that's kind of a recipe, I think, right there, Eric. You've got a ground ball guy on the mound in Tim Hudson. Year after year, Tejada, with as much contact as he makes, usually right up there in most double plays hit into.
That had all the makings of a double play right there. Cody Ross getting down to second base on top of Dan Uggla, who wasn't able to make a smooth transition. You see, watch this hop. Oh!
Whoa. Well, and in a way, that's kind of the essence of Cody Ross right there, too. It's a ball player that looks for an edge all the time. Eli Whiteside, the hitter. And I think it's Cody Ross supplied so many big hits last postseason, including in the series against the Braves. It ended Bobby Cox's managerial career. I think the irony is that that's exactly the kind of player that Bobby Cox would have loved to have had. Gritty overachiever like Cody Ross.
Well, and I think now with Cody Ross back with the San Francisco Giants, we talked about this offense not getting on track yet in this early part of the year, but Cody Ross will go out and give you a good at-bat. He'll lengthen that lineup. An excellent outfielder.
Freddie Gonzalez, the Atlanta manager, had him in Florida and couldn't say enough good things about him. And you know what?
Think he's saying anything good about him right now?
No, not so much now. But
it's not that nice Cody Ross. It's that Cody Ross right now.
Tejada, the base runner now. Off speed 1 and 2. And you know, the other thing that Freddie Gonzalez said about Cody Ross, this is stuck in my head now. You were there when he said it. You never call him Cody. You never call him Ross. You and I are guilty of that. Everybody just says Cody Ross. We have no theory for that, but I've never called him Ross. I call Whiteside Whiteside, but for some reason everybody just says Cody Ross. Hudson missing. It's 2 and 2. Giants are 10-9 right now. They're 3 behind Colorado. Atlanta's 9-12. They are 4th in the National League East. And obviously, one of the biggest things at the plate for the Giants, that would be young Buster Posey. He is not playing today. That's why we're watching Whiteside right now. 2-2, 2-out pitch. Floats outside. Runner will get going now. And the pitcher, Tim Lincecum, on deck.
And Tim Hudson wants to obviously retire Whiteside so he can have Lincecum lead that next inning off.
Tejada in motion. On the ground, base hit. Runners at the corners now, and Lincecum coming up.
You see Tejada, he's running on the pitch. Easily gets into third base.
Tejada's going to be 37 next month. Not exactly a burner anymore, but no problem getting on there to third to set it up for Lincecum.
Well, that at-bat did a couple things as far as Whiteside gets Lincecum up this inning with 2 outs, so the following inning he won't be leading off the inning. Plus, Lincecum is a left-handed hitter. Little surprised that Freeman would hold Whiteside on and leave that right side of the infield open. You know, right now, if I'm Freddie Freeman at first base, I'm playing right behind Eli Whiteside. Give myself a little more room to operate, ability to cover some more ground. Whiteside wants to run. Go ahead.
Not something you would assume he would be doing.
Well, you run and you get thrown out, then you have Lincecum leading off the next inning. I mean,
Whiteside, the owner of 1 career stolen base. Now it's 1-2. Whiteside's not a bad player. Bochy was talking to us about him before the game. If you need that, just that capable backup for Posey, going to play once every 2 weeks, no problem.
Well, and the biggest part of it is that he's content with doing that. And there are a lot of guys that say, yeah, I'll do the backup job, but when it's once every 2 weeks, and they're like, man, maybe not so much.
Let's check the last pitch. It made it 2-2 near the plate, but fading away.
See, going with the off-speed stuff to Tim Lincecum.
In play, caught. Cody Ross delivered the RBI single. It is San Francisco 1, Atlanta 0. We'll come back after a word from your local Fox station.
pretty nice. He's got some nice flow going.
Baseball presented by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Josh Lewin, Eric Karros, Chris Rose here in San Francisco today, where it's the Braves and the Giants getting reacquainted. They played against each other in the National League Division Series last October. Alex Gonzalez puts the first one in play. Tim Lincecum now pitching with a 1-0 lead. And Eric, has that changed the dynamics here a little bit now that you're down 1-0 and Lincecum is the guy on the mound?
No, 1-0. Tim Lincecum's not going to just get out there and start screwing around. He's still going to pitch because one swing of the bat, you've got a tie ball game. If it's a 5 or 6 run lead, then he can go out there and pretend like it's wiffle ball in the backyard. Remember, this Atlanta ball club, they can hit some home runs.
Nate McLouth, who had a chance maybe to come up throwing and did not do that. 1-0 is our score. McLouth at least starting to hit a little bit. 2 hits in each of the games the Braves just played in LA. But Eric, did the Braves expect too much maybe from Nate McLouth when they brought him in?
Well, I think when he came over from Pittsburgh, he was an all-star and had success at Pittsburgh. Remember, you play in Pittsburgh, you play in Atlanta. That's 2 different places as far as one team is just playing for fun. At least for the last 20 years they've been playing for fun. Atlanta's playing for championships. And that makes a difference.
Well, I mean, he's living large off of one really, really good year. And I get your point. That was kind of way, way under the radar for the Pirates. But that was a 76 extra base hit season. Last year he had 19.
Well, last year a lot of struggles. Obviously it becomes mental after a period of time.
That ball getting down. There's a base hit for Nate McLouth. 1 down and Tim Hudson coming up. DirecTV has a game break. Here's Chris Rose.
All right, Josh, thank you. Wild one on the north side of Chicago. Jeff Baker snapping an 8-8 tie. The Cubs with a 5 spot in the 8th. They go on to win it 10-8, and they even their record at 10-10. Remember to see every baseball game the most in HD. It's 1-800-DirecTV. Also, big news here. Andre Ethier extends his hit streak to 20 games. EK, what was your career best hitting streak? Any idea?
Well, I'll tell you what. My philosophy was if it wasn't going to be 57, it didn't matter. That's the way I looked at it.
Very good, buddy.
Well, that's just one way to say, like, yours was like probably 11. The nice way to say it. Hudson takes upstairs. Well, the Dodgers losing today, that is hardly the worst thing that's happened to the LA Dodgers this past week. That situation just gets more and more bizarre. Sandoval in on the grass at third, still creeping in as Hudson gives away the bunt, takes up and outside.
Well, obviously, you talk about the situation in L.A., being bizarre. Bud Selig, Major League Baseball, taking over ownership operation of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I'm sure over the next couple of months that'll play out. Not sure how it's going to play out.
Well, I got to ask you though, because all those years you spent in Dodger blue, you know what it means to wear Dodger blue. Does the whole thing just kind of ook you out a little bit?
Well, it's something that you never thought would happen to that organization just because of the way it had been run historically with the O'Malley family, Walter O'Malley, and then I was fortunate enough to play under the ownership of Peter O'Malley. And the one constant there was stability. Obviously, that has eluded the current ownership.
It has been a bungee jump over there. Lincecum walks Hudson in a bunting situation. He averages about a walk and a half a game this year. He's already walked 3 once through the order today. And folks, Fox Saturday Baseball returning next week. These Braves heading home to take on the Cardinals. You might see the Angels against Tampa Bay. The Mets and the Phillies continue their NL East rivalry. It's a special time. Fox Saturday Baseball, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific is what we're looking at next week. It all starts with This Week in Baseball. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. And back to the top of the order, Martin Prado. Once through the order, Eric, only a couple of strikeouts for Lincecum. That against the 3 walks. And up again here to Prado. Yeah, a few times that slider has just stayed up kind of chest level.
Well, and remember, we talked at the top of the show, you don't have to hit everything. I mean, take some walks, and the Braves have been more patient. You remember last night, the Braves putting a 4 spot up early in the game. It started with the 2 walks. Walk to McLeod, a walk to Prado.
Dave Righetti is out there. We'll gather up some other Giants on the mound to talk to Lincecum, who was 2-0. Help make a baseball moment kids will never forget. Go to ChevyBaseball.com to support youth baseball, plus enter to win one of 4 trips to the 2011 MLB All-Star Game and the keys to a new Chevrolet. Well, the fans now rallying their support for Tim Lincecum.
Well, unless this pitch is a fastball right down the middle, I've got to take if I'm Prado.
It is a
fastball right
down the middle.
But see, you saw he was going up there. He had a plan. He was taken all the way. Which very well, you still got 2 strikes. Don't offer it anything unless it's a fastball.
Down the right field line and foul. You know, the Giants turned that double play for Lincecum in the first inning. That's only the 11th double play they've turned this entire month of April. So as we talk about why maybe the Giants have the ERA a little higher than they're used to seeing or want to see, hadn't been a lot of Tejada to Sanchez to Huff, or before that Brandon Belt. Up and in with Jason Hayward waiting on deck. Half of these Atlanta hitters have gone to a 3-ball count on Lincecum. Prado smacks it into left field. The Atlanta Braves will tie it up. It is 1-1 in the top of the 3rd. Is that where he wanted that pitch?
Well, not sure that he wanted it up there in the zone like that, but Prado doesn't hit it that well. Hits it off the end of the bat. Just gets it out into left field, but very effective. Again, 2 walks. Should say 1 walk to Tim Hudson, who is really sacrificing himself, giving himself up. Come back to haunt Tim Lincecum.
Hayward, who did not have a good playoff series against these San Francisco Giants. But what a great series that was overall. It wasn't the most well-played series, Eric. There were 10 errors in it. But every game decided by 1 run. We mentioned Lincecum set the tone in that NLDS last year. The 2-hitter, 14 strikeouts, but a bit of a struggle here today. Boy, and you called it. These Braves are laying off a lot of the Lincecum offerings.
Well, only 2 Braves have swung at the first pitch. That was Alex Gonzalez and then Jason Hayward. Everybody else gone up there, seen some pitches. You know, and that's not just coincidence. That's a plan.
Hayward known for his patience. He walked, what, 91 times last year at the age of 20. Not a lot of 20-year-old guys have that kind of discipline.
No, it's discipline, and what it also is a lot of confidence. Confidence to hit with 2 strikes. Confidence that, okay, maybe I let that fastball go by, but I'm confident in my ability that I can hit deep in the count.
Another 3-ball count. And Lincecum, who averages not even 2 walks a game this year, last year, he's in danger of number 4 already today. Taken, down he goes. Patience not always a virtue. Hayward is gone.
As we mentioned, Hayward goes after the first pitch, which is uncharacteristic of this Atlanta ball club today. That was a ball out of the zone. Now he works the count to 1-1, and you see same spot for all these pitches, down, down, down. And he comes up, got the count here. And then I'll tell you, he ends up striking out, even though we didn't see it.
You want to see it?
I want to see it.
Right.
Come on, give it to me, Josh.
Just for you.
Fastball painted on the outside part of the plate.
Here's painting right there to Freddie Freeman, too. Go ahead, 0-1. Now, remember yesterday, the Braves did all their scoring in this 3rd inning. They put a 4 spot up and won the game 4-1. One big swing from Freeman here, and you could have 4-1 again.
Well, Freddie Freeman had some great at-bats the other day off the Dodgers' Clayton Kershaw, one of the toughest pitchers to hit. A left-hander. Hit a ball out of the park, and then late in the game, the big at-bat drew a walk. Shows great plate discipline.
It's squibbed, and Whiteside grabs it before it can roll foul. That will end the inning. Heads up and cat-like from Eli Whiteside. We are tied at 1 on Fox. A homestand that yielded a batting average of just around 230. And the thought was that Tim Lincecum might not be the tonic for all of that this afternoon. But here they are, the Braves and the Giants tied 1-1. Top of the order for San Francisco, Aaron Rowand. And Tim Hudson, who had to run the bases a bit last half inning. He will deliver strike one. Last year, the Giants ending that 56-year run without a championship. And did so with a feel-good vibe that was just impossible to ignore. The wacky closer, the band of outfield retreads, the first baseman with the lucky thong. But most of all, the starting pitching, right?
Well, starting pitching was just electric. And we got a glimpse of it in September. Like I said, I'm not so sure nationally that we were ready to say, well, that pitching, that's for real. But they proved that it was for real. They dominated in October, celebrated a world championship.
A lot of the celebrating was on the road, including the first step along the path when the Atlanta Braves were vanquished, and that was it for Bobby Cox, as it turned out. And the Giants, really classy, I thought, Eric, just kind of stopped down on the celebration. They wanted to turn around and do what all the Braves fans were doing. That's tip a cap for Bobby Cox. Hudson rings up Rowand. And Freddie Sanchez will come up. Speaking of Freddie's, other Freddie Freeman, mic'd up for your pleasure today. Fox Sounds of the Game. You're involved in this one.
Is that
We're
right?
talking about Eric's hair in the dugout. Keros, have you seen his hair? Pretty nice. He's got some nice flow going.
You, sir, have nice flow going. So I got to ask you. I mean, are you like Coco Crisp? You're just going to grow the whole thing out?
I think it's midlife crisis, Josh.
Is that what it is?
It's midlife crisis.
Well,
I'm not really sure what I'm featuring, to be honest with you.
Dribbling into left field. There's Freddie Sanchez with a base hit. Chris Rose, your thoughts on the Eric Karros look, by the way?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of discussion over the first 4 weeks of Fox Saturday Baseball. I've heard everything. People are saying Lorenzo Lamas. Karros.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
When you had the goatee working before the season, Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah, not really a good look for me.
No, you can pull it off.
As he says sarcastically.
I think Patrick Dempsey just tweeted he's really impressed with your hair. Aubrey Huff hitting only .220. But gets into this one. Not really going anywhere. McLeod over. Brings up Pablo Sandoval. We were talking about Sandoval not only taking the weight off, but keeping the weight off, Eric. And early returns, maybe it's coincidence, but this looks like the 09 version of Panda.
Well, and you know, keeping it off is going to be difficult during the course of a baseball season. And I say that because you've got the late night games and you're eating after the games. You're usually awake. Sometimes you may go out and hang out for a little while. And, you know, staying fit during the season, the schedule isn't always conducive to maintaining that. You know, I always said I spent all off season getting in shape and then the season getting out of shape.
So you could attack a post-game spread with the best of them? Is that...
Shoot. Things didn't stand a chance.
Weekly up near Tim Hudson. And Sandoval, slim down and all, is done. 1-1 tie here in San Francisco on Fox. sponsored by Ford, Drive One, and by Klondike Ice Cream. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Not needing you to answer that, EK. I think there's no shortage of things you would do for one of those, but we go to the fourth inning. It's Brian McCann against Tim Lincecum. Now, Lincecum, a 27-pitch third inning, and we point out that he was in the fourth inning of his prior start in Colorado when he got to pitch number 27. See how he rebounds here, facing McCann, Ugla, and Hinske. Well, it is hard to believe Brian McCann has never picked up a single point in MVP balloting. Rolls one on the ground to first. McCann has been arguably the best all-around catcher in the National League for, what, 4 or 5 years now?
Well, he's just solid. He doesn't put up astounding numbers offensively, but every year just very consistent. You talk to a lot of people, around this Atlanta Brave ball club, and Chipper Jones is a leader, and he will be until he leaves. But Brian McCann garners a ton of respect in that clubhouse.
Ugla not close. Again, Chipper Jones turning 39 tomorrow, gets a day off today. But boy, he's looking like the Chipper of old, pretty much. It took him till 46 at-bats this year to strike out.
Well, he had a great spring, and I think after last year, there was talk of retiring, and then the knee injury in August. But he's come back, and as you mentioned, playing like the Chipper of old.
A weak swing from Ugla again, who doesn't quite have it down against Lincecum yet. He struck out in the second inning. Closing in on Mickey Mantle's RBI total. That'll make Larry Jones Sr. pretty happy if he catches and passes the Mick.
Well, you talk about the great switch hitters the game has ever seen. Mickey Mantle, Eddie Murray. Got to put Chipper Jones right in that company as well.
No, it's funny. His dad, Larry, that's the thing he always told him. Be like Murray, be like Mantle. Ugla down on strikes. Number 4 for Lincecum. Hinske comes up next. And folks, this May, Fox Sports will bring you some of baseball's best teams and the sport's biggest stars in a special 3-week primetime event that you won't want to miss. Fox Saturday Baseball goes prime time starting May 14th in high definition, only on Fox. Hinske, a strikeout victim, took a called third strike in the second. And Eric, just to finish the thought from last half inning, as Lincecum and company steered the Giants to that first World Series title in 50-odd years. It's amazing. The Willie Mays Giants didn't do it. Will Clark's Giants didn't do it. Of course, Barry Bonds' Giants didn't do it. But those guys did. Hinske. Now let's check the carom here. Got a shot at second base because of that carom. Good night. Out at second base. And Cody Ross doing it again. He's got the RBI, and now he's got an outfield assist. Pat Burrell to lead it off. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. He's swinging right away. This ball's going to find safe harbor 2 rows back. Couple of Braves have been erased on the bases so far today, Eric Karros, and against Tim Lincecum. That might come back to bite you.
Well, I think, though, Atlanta is forcing the issue, and you have to. You have to make the San Francisco Giants make plays. Defensively, they haven't been as adept as they were last year, and you're not going to get a lot of opportunities against Tim Lincecum.
Cody Ross had an RBI single, a hard takeout slide, just had the outfield assist. Cutting down to Hinsky, trying to turn a single into a double. And I mentioned at the time that was Ross's first hit of the year. It sounds a little weird, but remember, he was just activated off the DL a few days back. Out with a strained right calf all year. In for a strike, 1 and 2. Ross on deck, but for now, Pat Burrell, who doubled in the 2nd. We were talking earlier, too, Eric, about the misfits and the cast-offs that came over last year. Kind of a hodgepodge outfield. Burrell and Ross getting the Giants to where I mentioned Barry Bonds had never gotten them. Willie Mays had never taken them. Odds of that were not high, but it happened. Weekly up the line, and Hudson off balance, did not get him. And Ross is coming up. Chris Rose is standing by with more on Cody Ross.
Yeah, guys, actually, it's been a huge week for Cody Ross and teammate Brian Wilson. They are part of the latest YouTube craze with 16-year-old Keenan Cahill. Enjoy.
Have you seen this yet, Eric Karros?
I did. I saw it the other day, and I think it's great.
Look at Brian Wilson. How can you look at Brian Wilson and not laugh? Cody Ross batting. He's the guy on the right. Well, for Brian Wilson, well, you know, last year you're striking out Nelson Cruz. Now you're singing Teo Cruz, and you're doing it for a great cause, right, Chris Rose?
Yeah, and I mean, they're raising money for Keenan Cahill, his foundation. He's a 16-year-old, and he suffers from a disease in which he has stunted growth. And he's a kid that has actually put out several YouTube videos, even did one with 50 Cent as well. Wow. These guys said they had a great time, and they said it only took them 1 take. They swore to me on that one. I'm not so sure I'm buying it, but that's what Cody Ross told me. 1 take.
Cody Ross takes right here, and the fundraiser that you're talking about, May 25th, to promote, or at least getting some proceeds for that Merito-Lamey syndrome from which Keenan Cahill suffers. I think I've watched that YouTube video like 12 times. I laugh every time. Off speed, in there for a strike. A million views in 4 days. And nationally televised today. Maybe we can take that up a tick. The team tweet from the Giants. Infield, a double play depth. Down goes Cody Ross. They'll likely stay right where they were, double play depth-wise, with Tejada coming up.
Well, Tim Hudson, known as a low ball pitcher, decides to climb the ladder, goes at Cody Ross with a good hard fastball. That's the thing, as a hitter, you're looking something waist and below, because that's where Hudson usually is. Changes up a little bit right there, catches Cody Ross.
We mentioned this the last time Tejada batted. He's a guy that hits a lot of baseballs hard, a lot of them on the ground. This one, though, skidding. It gets under Prado and is then dropped by Gonzalez. And you're thinking double play off the bat, but a couple of breaks right there, and it's 2 on 1 out.
Well, you mentioned double play, and I think that's what Martin Prado was thinking, is got to come in and get that double play. You want to make sure one. That's a tough hop. It's an in-between hop. You see he starts to go laterally and then says, I better take a step in. really, the first thing you need to do as a corner infielder is charge the ball. You may get it on the short hop, but that's really the only play you have. See, Chipper Jones made that play a number of times.
That will be ruled an error. That's the first made by the Braves in 8 games. Chance for Eli Whiteside. Remember, the pitcher is now on deck. And that probably heightens the importance of this at bat, right? Make sure the Whiteside can come through. He's done it once today.
Well, what you don't want to do if you're Tim Hudson is fall behind. You'd like to work ahead in the count, then be able to kind of pick corners and take Whiteside apart. Got the pitcher on deck so you don't have to go right after him.
Well, even being at 1-0 before that swing and a miss by Whiteside, that was rare today. Hudson was first pitch strike to 15 of the first 16 batters today. Runners off at first and second. Got a sure-handed shortstop out there. Alex Gonzalez has made just 1 error all year as an everyday player. And Uggla's okay at second base. He famously made 3 errors in an All-Star game. Maybe more famously, a Braves second baseman made 3 errors in the playoffs against these Giants last year. That was Mr. Brooks Conrad. On the ground, and there's Gonzalez. 6-4. It's high. Got it down. It is a 6-4-3 double play. Hudson is out of the inning with some help. We're still tied 1-1. Take us to break. Teo Cruz.
Lead in fielding percentage. See, Alex Gonzalez makes a nice play and a great feed to Dan Uggla. Now watch Freddie Freeman catches a ball and lays the tag on Eli Whiteside. That's the advantage of being a right-handed first baseman there. The glove closer to the runner, able to make that tag. You watch Freddie get up. He doesn't worry about holding the bag.
Well,
goes up there, catches it, and in one swoop makes the tag on the runner. That's an excellent play by the first baseman.
But on the left side of Whiteside, Gonzalez will fly to center field. Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. To learn more, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports. That's Eric Karros. I'm Josh Lewin. Welcome to San Francisco today. It's the Braves and the Giants. Chris Rose is down on the field. Tim Lincecum and Tim Hudson are pitching matchup today, and somewhat as advertised. It's got a 1-1 ring to it here, but Lincecum has been not exactly his best today.
Well, no, he hasn't been pinpoint, but again, it's a 1-1 ball game, and I think what we've come to expect from Tim Lincecum is dominance. And anytime there's a little crack, and a crack means a walk here, a walk there, we go, oh boy, what's going on? But 1-1 ball game, only giving up a few hits today. Still looks pretty dominant.
One of those hits to this guy, Nate McLeod. All right, so how would you approach Tim Lincecum?
Well, as a hitter, I'd go up there and I'd look for just a fastball, and I'd sit on a fastball until he gets me 0-2. Then maybe I spread out and just try to make contact. But if you're going up there thinking, trying to guess and trying to think with him and say, well, I think he's going to throw an off-speed pitch here, you just can't cover all of that. I don't care what type of hitter you are. I don't care if you're Albert Pujols.
4 walks in 5 innings, and this is one of the most respected home plate umpires in the game, maybe the most. Jim Joyce back there, usually a very fair strike zone. Here's today's Jeep game summary. The pitching Tims, Hudson and Lincecum, not disappointing yet. Now, Tim Hudson walked in the 3rd inning and was a DH at Auburn when he didn't pitch. It's the guy that actually handles the bat pretty well. So it's not automatically a bunting situation, though he is squaring early. And bunting just fine. I'll get McLeod for long, bring up Martin Prado. Well, Prado's had a productive day at the plate with a walk and an RBI single. And a chance to give Atlanta the lead right here.
Well, I think he's really the key to get this Atlanta offense going. The reality is Atlanta doesn't have a true leadoff hitter. I mean, Martin Prado on a number of teams ideally would bat second, but he's been thrust into that leadoff role. You know, coming in today, an on-base percentage of under 300. If he can get on at the top of the lineup, that makes it easier for that middle of the lineup to get going.
Rolled in there for a strike. It's a good point, Eric. I mean, 22 games into the season is pretty late to have no one on your team with 2 stolen bases. You're right. They don't have a prototypical leadoff guy.
Well, and he doesn't necessarily need to run. Just needs to get down to first base.
Really wasn't a problem for the Braves last year. They led the National League in on-base percentage in 2010. Right now they're last in 2011. Lincecum will try to finish off Prado. Can't do it. Base hit, center field, Martin Prado. He has driven home both of Atlanta's runs today. It's 2-1. Boy, and on 0-2.
And that's when you can tell that Tim Lincecum isn't sharp. It's not necessarily the walks today, but on an 0-2 pitch, you know, he doesn't normally miss in the hitting zone. Tried to go up with a fastball. Left it down just a tad and on the inner half of the plate. Little surprised that he didn't go at him with the off speed with that changeup with the forkball type action.
McLeod much more at home, batting 8th, it would appear. He's been on base twice, has scored the 2 runs, and the guy that now bats second up at the plate here, Jason Hayward.
Remember, Prado tried to steal early in the game and was thrown out. Not a bad time to run now with 2 outs if you do get thrown out. You have Hayward leading off the inning.
We got 3 lefties that can park one to start up next inning. Hayward, Freeman, McCann. There was some controversy in Atlanta about whether or not Jason Hayward should be hitting second in the order, Eric, and it looks like, at least for now, that's what Freddie Gonzalez wants to do. Do you like that move?
Well, you know, I think Freddie's got a tough situation because, again, he doesn't have a true leadoff hitter. Ideally, you'd like Nate McLeod to take that second hole. But because he hasn't been able to do it, then you've got to put somebody else there. But Jason Hayward was swinging the bat decently in the middle of that lineup.
That one's going to dribble into right center field. Prado takes a turn. He will motor to third. It is 2 on, 2 out. And Freddie Freeman coming up. All walks and singles for the Braves today, but they've managed to take a 2-1 lead. And going back to the Prado base hit, only the second base hit this year allowed on 0-2 for Tim Lincecum. I know you like Freddie Freeman quite a bit. 21, only going to get better.
What I like about him is I like the discipline. I like the ability to go up there, to take some pitches, to not get too caught up in the moment. He's a big kid, drives the ball the other way. Excellent with the glove.
Fouls it. Let's go to Chris Rose.
Guys, Freddie Freeman, 21. Not only is he talented, he is focused. Last Saturday on Fox, gets one high and tight from Pat Mish. The next pitch, squarely focused on the game at hand. See ya. I asked him if he was a little more focused because of that first pitch. He said he didn't even remember it.
No, he's not scared. Chops it to second base. The Braves breaking through, though. They get a run. They take a lead of 2-1 here on Fox. They're waiting. Grab some buds. Beautiful ballpark in San Francisco. The longtime voice of the Giants, Hank Greenwald, said it best, I think, a few years ago, Eric. An opera house, a city hall, a convention center, they can all be built. And there are those who might be passionate about it, but build a ballpark, put a halfway decent team in it. Whole city goes goofy with pride, said Mr. Greenwald, and that's about right here in San Francisco.
Yeah, no question, one of the most picturesque parks in all of Major League Baseball.
You can fish and watch the game. Lincecum slicing it into left field. He's on. Well, if he doesn't want the loss against Tim Hudson, he can now even the score against Tim Hudson. And Hudson in a 13-year major league career. I think this goes largely unreported sometimes, Eric.
Yeah, he's been dominant. And what he is he's a competitor. He's got great stuff, but he also knows how to pitch. He doesn't just rely on his ability to go out and throw the ball. I mean, there are days when he doesn't have it, but he gets by on guile and smarts. And you look at the company he's in right there. Lowest ERA since 1999. And those are Hall of Fame guys right there. Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez.
Aaron Rowand at the plate, one on, infield at double play depth. 2-1 Atlanta here in the 5th. Yeah, and Hudson's career winning percentage very close to that of guys like Clemens and Halladay. Without a lot of fanfare, Tim Hudson is, well, he's won about 2/3 of his career decisions. Got some room in left center field here if Rowan can find it. Instead, he grounds it that way, and it goes 6-4-3 on the DP. We go to Chris Rose for a DirecTV game break.
All right, guys, don't look now, but the Mets have won 3 in a row. Second base has been an atrocious position for them this year, but Dana Murphy comes through with a little base knock, and then K-Rod gets into trouble, puts 2 on with 2 out in the 9th, then he gets Chris Young his 4th save of the year. Remember, you can see every baseball game the most in HD, 1-800-DIRECTV. Earlier, guys, I told you about Andre Ethier of the Dodgers extending his hit streak to 20 games. Karos, I've done a little research. You want to guess on your longest hitting streak?
8. 7.
I'll take the over.
How many?
17 and 95.
Look at you. That's my partner, Freddie Sanchez, who's out. A 5-pitch inning. We would have talked more glowingly about Karos, but we're done. Out to support youth baseball across the country. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by ExxonMobil, taking on the world's toughest energy challenges. Along with Eric Karros and Chris Rose, Josh Lewin. Thanks for joining us on Fox today. Got that pitcher's duel we thought would be here. Tim Lincecum and Tim Hudson. It's 2-1 into the 6th. Lincecum not missing by much, but there's McCann going ahead in the count 1-0. So far, it's been 4 walks, only 3 strikeouts for Lincecum. And you might see this, well, statistically about once a year, Eric, where there's more walks than strikeouts from the man they call the Freak. Of course, he's got time to even that up here. It's 4 to 3 walks right now.
And he just hasn't been his pinpoint self. Some of the hits that he's given up, specifically to Prado on an 0-2 pitch, wasn't where he wanted it to be. But again, our expectations of Tim Lincecum and what we want to see. I mean, you look at the numbers, it's still a pretty nice line.
Actually, as the graphic showed, it is 4 to 4 now, the walks to strikeouts. Now you can make it 4 versus 5. McCann, a victim. Ugla has been coming up a little bit short today. He'll bat next. He's got 2 of those punch outs. And folks, this week it's back-to-back days of the UEFA Champions League semis. Beginning with Schwalke taking on Man U on Fox Soccer. Then one of the world's greatest sports rivalries. It's Real Madrid against Barcelona on FX. Check local listings for the start time in your area. My Aston Villa boys nowhere to be found. Pablo Sandoval is in on soccer big time. There's a Panda tweet. He's a Barcelona guy. My guess is Eric Karros will not be joining this soccer discussion.
Youth soccer, that's about the extent of my soccer knowledge.
It's like the kangaroo kickers and teams like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Ugla finally puts one in play. Tejada gets rid of it, got him. You watch some of those games, my friend, you will be hooked. We just got to get you away from things like youth soccer.
Yeah, well, I've got Fox Saturday baseball. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you're working. Yeah. Well, this is like Tuesday and Wednesday. You can find some time.
I'm reading up on NASCAR.
That will get you in with the suits, too. That's good. Here's Hinsky. He was trying to get to second base on a double in the 4th inning with 2 out. And kind of a fortunate carom went to Cody Ross out near that bullpen down the right field line, and Ross gunned him. There's Lincecum in with a quick 0-2 count. Cody Ross been a big part of the Giants since last summer. Pitch count's around 90 for Lincecum. And he was at 108 when he took that no-hitter into the 7th inning in Colorado last time. A couple times tried to get Hinsky to bite, would not do it. Dialed it down and got his man. He strikes out 2 in the inning. 6 for the game. Little Kung Fu Panda for you when we come back. Braves on Fox today, and they've got the 3-4-5 part of the order. Don't forget Buster Posey available off the bench today as well. Here's Aubrey Huff. Last year at age 33, checked in with the best season of his career to date. So it's funny, one of the biggest things he did in the World Series anyway, of all things, Eric Karras, was drop down a bunt.
And he did it on his own.
Well, he grew up in Mineral Wells, Texas. His favorite player was native Texan Nolan Ryan. That bunt he laid down to shock the world in Game 5 of the World Series. Came to rest about, I would say, 60 feet from where Nolan Ryan was sitting in his box seat. That was a key play in that deciding game. Not much more than a bunt right there, but Hudson will take care of it. That's 10 ground ball outs already for Tim Hudson. Sandoval comes up. We've been talking about this today, taking off the weight. Well, actually, first it went up. Now it's back down.
When you look at the correlation, when the weight goes up, the average and slugging percentage go down. I mean, it just goes without saying. You know, he really received an ultimatum in the offseason. It was issued by the Giants and Bruce Bochy. You know, you can eat all you want, but you're going to be eaten down in Fresno, the AAA affiliate. And, you know, to his credit, he took that as a challenge. And he's got himself in great playing shape. Has enjoyed the early season success.
Fans didn't like that strike call from Jim Joyce. That one definitely outside. Take you back to the first one.
See, that's a first pitch right there, and Jim Joyce calling it a strike.
Might have been a bit high, but you know, benefit of the doubt wise, we mentioned earlier, 16 of the first 17 today saw a first pitch strike.
Well, here, look at it this way. Pablo Sandoval, he's a pretty free swinger, right?
Right on, yeah.
He's never hit that pitch before. I mean, it's, you know, obviously if you're hitting up there, you want the real small strike zone. Jim Joyce has done a good job today.
Jimmy heading back to the scene of the infamy next. His crew going to Detroit. Sandoval, line shot right field, caught. 2 up, 2 down. Two lucky guys watching every baseball game during 2011, sharing their experiences with fans throughout their entire season-long adventure. Check out what's going on at MLBFanCave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter, and you can like the MLB Fan Cave page on Facebook. It's a great concept. You gotta really love baseball to be doing that.
The question is, when you're done doing that, will you still really love baseball?
Pat Burrell towards the track, not quite there. Quick and easy inning. And it's still 2-1 Atlanta over San Francisco on Fox. Baseball presented by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Josh Lewin along with Eric Karros and Chris Rose down on the field. Got a 2-1 lead for the Braves today against Tim Lincecum. He'll deal strike one to open things up. The bottom third of the order with Gonzalez, McLeod, and Hudson. Hudson's thrown only 72 pitches. So you wouldn't think that there's any kind of thought of pinch hitting for the pitcher. Nobody's warming in the Atlanta bullpen, and as we've talked about, Hudson can handle the bat.
Well, he can handle the bat, and really, Tim Hudson, forget what he's done on the mound today. That's been dominant, but at the plate today, he's been instrumental in both of the Atlanta Brave runs.
Yeah.
In the third inning, drew a walk. They end up scoring a run there. In the fifth inning, a sacrifice bunt, they end up scoring.
Gonzalez pegs one, and that's fair in the left field corner. On his way to second base. Lead-off double to bring up McLeod. Well, not a day where the 3, 4, 5 batters are a collective 0 for 9 against Lincecum. Yeah, 8, 9, and 1 getting it done.
Well, again, we have an 0-2 pitch right here. Leaves it over the inner part of the plate. It's low. Gonzalez just drops the bat. Lines it in for a double. That's a second 0-2 hit. And we don't know if this will come back to haunt him, but remember the Martin Prado 0-2 RBI hit earlier in the game.
Lincecum had allowed only 2 base hits on 0-2 all year. He's allowed 2 in the last 3 innings now.
I'll say it again. Tim Lincecum, I mean, we're nitpicking. This guy is just, I mean, he's basically almost perfection. And when it's not at that level, we say, hey, what's going on with Tim Lincecum here? I take this Tim Lincecum any day of the week.
Even though this Tim Lincecum right here is 3-0 and in danger of walking his 5th of the day, Hudson is on deck. And Atlanta's bench, by the way, if you're thinking of pinch hitting for Hudson, the Braves pinch hitters started the year 0 for 25. They're now up to 3 for 30. That one squirts away. So on 4, Nate McLeod is on. And McLeod has been on all 3 times today.
As we mentioned, McLeod going down to that 8th spot, he's really flourished there. You know, and not so much Jason Hayward going into that 2 spot that a lot of Atlanta fans were clamoring for. I don't think people expected the results they'd get out of the 8 hole from Nate McLeod.
Well, anything they can get from Nate McLeod, and if the catalyst is dropping him to the 8th spot, okay. Now here's Hudson, who has bunted successfully once already, and he's walked today. Wheel play is on. And Lincecum's going to have to make this play. He will. But 3 fine at-bats for Hudson, 3 very good ones for McLeod. And coming up, a guy who's had 3 of those too, Martin Prado.
See Huddy getting congratulations from all his teammates. As you mentioned, Josh, earlier, that very adept at handling the bat. An accomplished hitter at Auburn.
Another accomplished hitter has a chance now to get the Braves a little more. They're up 2-1. Martin Prado has driven in the 2 runs today. Last time was on an 0-2 count that singled in a center. The infield comes in, hugs the grass. First one, strike 1.
Well, you see he goes with that splitter or that changeup that has the splitter type action. The movement. He's looking for something. I say he, Tim Lincecum, is looking to throw something that Prado will beat into the ground. I don't think he throws him a fastball at all.
With the infield in, coming home. Whiteside trying to get the tag, couldn't do it. The ball's in front of him. Freddie Sanchez had a shot. Looked like a clean shot to get the man coming down the line from third. Didn't do it.
Well, the runner's going on contact. Freddie Sanchez doesn't make a strong throw that Eli Whiteside can handle. Throw appears to be a little low. You see Alex Gonzalez. He's breaking on contact. Whiteside, if he gets a chest-high throw, he has a better opportunity of tagging the sliding Gonzalez. Sanchez just doesn't get enough on it.
Fielder's choice and the run batted in. The third of the day for Prado.
You see that ball short hops Whiteside.
There is action, by the way, in the San Francisco bullpen now. Javier Lopez. Hayward 1 for 2 with a walk. And with that infield at double play depth, here's Hayward. We've talked about his patience. There it is again. And they're doing a Lincecum today what they certainly couldn't do in the playoffs last year. That was a 2-hit, 14 strikeout masterpiece for Lincecum.
See the left-handed specialist, Javier Lopez, warming up down in the bullpen.
On 2-0. Make it 2-1. Freddie Freeman on deck. The back-to-back 21-year-olds in the lineup for Freddie Gonzalez. Gonzalez had a great line about that. He said it's not like the umpire cards you on your way to the plate. Doesn't matter if you're 21. If you can hit, you can hit. One thing Atlanta does that almost no big league organization does with any consistency, Eric, they start guys in the big leagues when they're ready. Most teams wait till mid-May so as not to start the player's clock for big league service time. Saves you a buck or two, but Braves don't do that. And GM Frank Wren says, yeah, I could save some money, but that's not holding up your end of the bargain with that young player and the manager who could use him if he's ready.
Well, and I can tell you that's appreciated by young players because there are organizations. I remember historically the Montreal Expos specifically would bring players up a little later in the year.
Lincecum has walked another. Freddie Freeman's coming up, and he's had a tough time today with Lincecum, but he's not going to have to worry about Lincecum. It's time for Lopez with the bases loaded. 3-1 Atlanta, our score. For Tim Lincecum today, he walked the first 2 batters he faced, and as it turns out, a career-high half a dozen walks today. Now the base is loaded, 1 out, and Freddie Freeman has to deal with Javier Lopez, a lefty specialist. Held lefties to a National League best 162 batting average a year ago.
Well, a big acquisition at the trading deadline last year by general manager Brian Sabian. Played a key role in that drive to the World Series.
The Braves had a very popular Javier Lopez of their own. For years, he was the catcher everyone adored long before Brian McCann arrived. McCann now on deck, with the spotlights on young Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman having success against left-handed pitchers this year. 7 for 20 with 2 home runs.
This will be impressive, though, right? I mean, if he can get this guy, because that's his gig as he gets out the lefties.
Yeah, you know, though, I watched him the other night against Madison Bumgarner, who's not fun to hit if you're left-handed. As I mentioned earlier, against Clayton Kershaw, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who's no fun to hit if you're righty or lefty.
Just kind of chips it in the air. Infield fly rule in effect. It's up to Brian McCann. And McCann in this kind of situation this year has been unbelievable. Runners in scoring position, EK, he's 8 for 10.
It's a pretty hot start right there, 8 for 10. You know, if you're on the San Francisco side, though, you're thinking, look, I've got Javier Lopez out there. He's my left-handed specialist. And there's no way that Brian McCann is going to continue at this clip. He's got to get out some point.
Well, the last 5+ seasons now, he's had about 40 more extra base hits than any other catcher in the majors, and he's gotten a bunch of those against tough lefties. Into center it goes. Base hit McCann. Charged in center by Rowan. He'll fire with a run in. It's cut off. 2 across the plate for the Braves. And the runs charged against the ledger of that guy.
But Brian McCann not wasting any time and not willing to fall behind. This pitch on the inner half of the plate, he keeps his hands close to his body, pulls the bat head in and just shoots it right back up the middle. And I mentioned that he was due to get out. It just not happening now. Now 9 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
So the cooling off will happen later, I guess, then. Here's Dan Uggla, who's got to be thrilled that Lincecum's not in the game anymore. Having a tough time figuring him out earlier. Then again, it's been a tough start this year for Uggla. Batting average still, well, 179 now. That ball popped in the air. Shallow center field. Sanchez will grab it, but 3 runs are in for the Atlanta Braves. They have chased Lincecum and they lead 5-1. by the 2011 Jeep Compass and by Majestic Athletic, the official uniform of Major League Baseball. Josh Lewin along with Eric Karros and Chris Rose. The Braves on top of the Giants 5-1. The Braves had their season end against the Giants last October. Tim Lincecum had a lot to do with that. But they got to Tim Lincecum today. Tim Hudson, meantime, deals a strike to Cody Ross. Hudson brings it up and in. He's just mid-70s for a pitch count. He had the one stumble. That was back in the second inning, I guess, Mr. Karros. A 26-pitch inning, I think that was in the second. But other than that, he's been cruising. Got him. One down, bottom 7. Time for a DirecTV game break. Here's Chris Rose.
Guys, a pair of NL MVPs showing why they have the hardware in St. Louis. Joey Votto in a 2-0 game ties it up his 4th of the year. He's hitting .397 on the young season. Remember the slow start for Albert Pujols, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can forget about that. His 6th homer in the last 8 games, tied for the Major League lead with 7. Cards lead at 3-2. To see all the baseball games, the most in HD, it's 1-800-DirecTV, guys.
Boy, that happened in a hurry, didn't it? Pujols he's going.
Was there any doubt, though?
No. Tulowitzki did what he did basically in about, 6 days? For those 7 home runs. There's Tejada taking inside. NL West is a tough division, boy. You got the Rockies on top right now. The Giants are currently 2nd. There's Offeld getting ready. On the ground past the mound. Diving play, Ugla. Can't get a head-first Tejada. All right, do you cringe when you see a guy go in like that, or is that okay there?
No, I don't like anybody running or diving head first into a base. You know, first of all, at first base, it slows you down instead of running right through. But I just don't like the whole idea of garnering some sort of hand injury. But Dan Ugla makes a nice play right there. We saw Rafael Furcal, the Dodgers, break a finger. He's out for a number of weeks. Josh Hamilton, the Rangers, going headfirst into home.
That was the big one this year so far. Eli Whiteside will pop it up. Mike Fontenot on deck, by the way, to hit for the pitcher's spot. Time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight. And just as Tim Hudson gives the Braves the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. You know, Eli Whiteside, by the way, a candidate for that. You know, Eli Whiteside, totally gray hair. Since his hair started turning prematurely gray in high school. He was full on Anderson Cooper by age 20. And somewhere Walt Frazier is looming with a sales pitch. And you two can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. Fontenot takes a strike. A former Chicago Cub. And just to go back to Hudson, Eric. 27 men have batted against him now. 24 of them have seen a first pitch strike.
Well, and again, as we mentioned, as effective as he's been on the mound, up at the plate, he's helped himself too. 2 sacrifice bunts, a walk, figured in all of the scoring today. And look at that, 0 free passes, no walks at all today for Tim Hudson.
Meantime, a half a dozen, a career high for the other Tim. Not your typical Lincecum start, no doubt. 6 innings, 6 hits, 6 walks to go with the 6 strikeouts. Here's that one bad inning we mentioned, the second inning for Hudson. Boy, a lot of low numbers since then. Popped back into this big crowd.
Well, this is what Atlanta needs as well. They had a real tough loss Thursday in Los Angeles, extra innings. They have to come up and face the world champs, Madison Bumgarner, Tim Lincecum tomorrow, Jonathan Sanchez. The win last night, get out to a lead today with Hudson.
Yep, it's been Tim Hudson's day. It is 5-1, the Atlanta Braves on top in San Francisco. Trail the Braves 5-1 on Fox today. Jeremy Affeldt takes over, getting into his 11th game already. Giants in danger of dropping to 500 at 10-10. It was like a warm burner to short. One pitch and Hinsky is out. Giants had a 1-0 lead for Tim Lincecum, but then the Braves back with one in the third. Martin Prado drove in that run. And Prado drove in another in the fifth, another in the seventh. Brian McCann added the big 2 RBI single. Now 5-1 Atlanta.
Well, you got Tim Hudson on the mound too for the Braves, and then we haven't really got into the whole bullpen of the Atlanta Braves. Venners and Kimbrel at the end of the game, the lefty and righty. Those guys have basically been lights out. Have unhittable stuff. There's Johnny Venners right there.
High octane out of that bullpen. And again, a lot of youth being infused now into this Braves organization. Bullpen, yes. Hayward in right field, Freeman at first. Chipper Jones still kicking around and doing his thing, but Gonzalez, so there's another one that really doesn't bounce at all. Just kind of rolled over there, 2 away. DirecTV with a game break, and we have Chris Rose.
Guys, Anibal Sanchez of the Marlins took a no-no into the 9th before it was broken up last night. Today it's Brad Penny of the Tigers taking one into the 6th. Brandon Inge, the good throw, and Miguel Cabrera drops the ball, and that is ruled a hit. The first hit of the day for the White Sox. This game's being played in Detroit. Tigers are leading at 8-0 in the 6th, guys.
Well, and your home plate umpire, Mr. Joyce, knows all about no-hitters, perfect games being busted up in Detroit. There's your Brad Penny line. 1 hit now in 6 innings. I thought the grace with which Jim Joyce handled all that was unbelievable last year. And Armando Galarraga, for that matter, too.
Joyce, one of the umpires that's really as good as you're going to get as far as a people person. Has a little baseball experience of his own. He played at Bowling Green and was a teammate of former Dodger, Giant, Indian Met, Oral Hershiser.
I don't think of Oral as those last few, but that's accurate.
He was there.
But first, he was a Bowling Green Falcon with Jim Joyce. 2-2 the count to McLeod. I mentioned that Joyce and his umpiring crew go to Detroit next when they're done here in San Francisco. Now, you survey major league players, they'll tell you Jim Joyce is one of the tops. 3-2 to McLeod, who's been on base 3 times today. Scored 3 runs.
Really taking a liking to that 8-hole. You know, you got to just figure that's mental. I mean, there's no real rhyme or reason. I mean, arguably, it's probably tougher to hit in that 8th spot than it is the 2nd spot.
Because the pitcher's behind you?
You got it. Won't see a lot of pitches. Arguably have to be more disciplined. But he's settled in nicely.
There are reasons to put him second. He's got some speed, some bunting ability, all that. But, hey, the early returns after a week of him hitting 8th been going a lot better for him. 7 out of 15 from that 8th spot. Well, at least that one bounced a little bit. Someone's got a little bit of lift. Pretty nice inning for Affeldt. It stays 5-1 on Fox. Escape convention in the radically new Lexus CT Hybrid. By DirecTV, don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And by Valvoline Next Gen. Josh Lewin, Eric Karros, Chris Rose in San Francisco, where the Braves have ridden the strong right arm of Tim Hudson today to a 5-1 lead. Aaron Rowand at the top of the order and the bottom of the 8th. And some defensive changes. Martin Prado has moved out to left now. And into the game to play third base. We're going to go with Brandon Hicks. True day off for Chipper Jones. Inside, and Rowan that time is hit. Or is he? Yeah, they're going to point to first base. He's gone. Welcoming those of you watching St. Louis and Cincinnati on Fox today. That game's in a rain delay. The Cardinals leading 3-2. Josh Lewin and Eric Karros here. Martin Prado at the top of the order has been dynamite. McCann had a big hit. Tim Hudson's been the story. Other Tim, a career-high 6 walks. And now as the Giants try to rally, Rowan just clipped by a pitch, and a couple times Tim Hudson came in tight on him. Freddie Sanchez looks at a strike. 3 and 4 in the order without a hit today. Huff and Sandoval. Posey's not playing today, but he's available off the bench. Hits are even, 7 aside. Hudson's been getting the ground ball outs one after another today. Chance to turn 2 here. This instead is a fly to right for Hayward. And Eric Karros, little Tim Hudson to show the good people.
Well, it's been all Tim Hudson today. I mean, out on the mound, he's been dominant. Has not allowed a free pass, no walks, and that's really been the difference between his line and the line Tim Lincecum offered. Braves defense making the plays when they had to in support of Tim Hudson. What we didn't show you are the highlights of Tim Hudson at the plate. 2 sacrifices, a walk, been instrumental in all of the scoring today for the Atlanta Braves.
That one getting away. Aubrey Huff will watch as Rowan will head on down to second base in a wild pitch. As wild as Hudson has been in the game, really at any point, has been these first few batters in the 8th.
Well, he's trying to go inside right there, and he just holds on to the ball just a little too long. You mentioned earlier Aaron Rowan, leadoff hitter this inning. Tim Hudson trying to go inside, unable to locate, ended up hitting Rowan.
The breaking ball missing now, and a rare 2-0 count for Hudson.
With the 5-1 lead right now, and the movement that Tim Hudson offers with just his fastball, look, I'm setting up right down the middle and try and aim down the middle and let the ball move.
That one moving outside. There is no action quite yet in the Atlanta pen. There's been no reason for that today. Sandoval has already got 5 home runs this year. He's waiting on deck.
Well, he hit a hard line drive to right field in his last at bat.
That one grazes the outside edge. You heard that high-pitched strike call from Jim Joyce. Hudson fights back. It's 3-2. And Ramon Ramirez getting ready in the Giants bullpen. Another one of those ground balls. Across the bay, they saw it for a long time. Hudson did it over there with the A's as well. Mentioned Jim Joyce, the home plate umpire. He is wired for sounds and Fox sounds of the game.
Yes, he did. Took something off of it, didn't he? Ooh, just missed me on the outside. That was pretty quick, big boy. That was pretty quick.
You say thank you, sir, Eli Whiteside. That's man gave you a compliment.
Jim Joyce having some fun back there today.
There's the day for Tim Hudson. Not even 100 pitches. He's got to go after Pablo Sandoval. Sandoval strained a triceps muscle the other day. There was some concern about that, but he says he's fine. Clubbed in the air towards center. And Tim Hudson's fine afternoon in San Francisco, California continues. We are through 8, and it's 5-1. The ball game is at the plate right here. That's Tim Hudson at the plate. Perfection. A walk and a couple of sacrifice bunts, and on the mound doing what he used to do across the bay in Oakland a lot. And that is clamp down on the opposition. Got a new pitcher to tell you about. That is Ramon Ramirez into the ball game for San Francisco. 5-1 Braves. Just starting the top of the 9th.
See Hudson with a nice swing right there. Ramirez, a good hard fastball, slider. Huddy with the bat there. You know, we talk about him hitting at Auburn. Remember Frank Thomas, the great first baseman for the White Sox, and then little time in Oakland. He played at Auburn as well. Tim Hudson broke all of Frank Thomas's hitting records there.
Wow. There is nothing he cannot do.
Well, Tim Hudson, very athletic, can swing the bat. We've seen some of the defensive plays he's made today, getting off the mound.
A whole different body type than the Big Hurt, though.
Yeah.
What does Huddy go, about 170? 170 pounds? 1-2 the count. Ramirez to Hudson upstairs. 2-2.
I think with all that's said about his athleticism and his ability to do things, and I still think that falls second to his competitiveness.
He is down on strikes. First out of the 9th inning, and time now for the Valvoline Next Gen Right plays of the game. Martin Prado, the other guy, I guess gained some mention today. It's not been all Tim Hudson. 3 runs batted in for Martin Prado, getting only his 3rd start at third base this season.
Well, had some big hits, probably none bigger than the 0-2 base hit against Tim Lincecum. See there, a fielder's choice. drove in Alex Gonzalez.
You know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention that I really believe that, you know, we talk about the 2-hole for the Braves and Dan Uggla. For me, though, on the outside looking in, Martin Prado is the key to this ball club, especially offensively, because he has to fill that role in the leadoff spot. You know, he hasn't gotten on base like he did last year. He will. And what he does then is he allows McCann in the middle of that lineup, Chipper Jones, you know, to be more productive. He allows who's ever hitting in that 2-hole more opportunity.
On the ground to short. And Prado is out. He did not play in the division series last year, remember. He and Chipper Jones were both hurt. Hey, this week, back-to-back days of the UEFA Champions League semifinals. Schalke taking on Manchester United on Fox Soccer. Then one of the world's greatest sports rivalries, Real Madrid and Barcelona on FX. Check local listings for the start time in your area. Tuesday and Wednesday promise to be as good as it gets when it comes to international soccer. Here's Jason Hayward. When the bottom drops out of that. And not to take anything away, I mean, it's not to suggest that, hey, if Prado and Chipper Jones had been playing, the Braves definitely would have beaten the Giants in the NLDS last year, but it didn't help that the Braves didn't have those guys.
No, but, you know, that series really, for me, and even a lot of Giants players, came down to the third game in Atlanta where San Francisco mounted a comeback after Eric Hinsky had...
Ooh, look out. Base hit center field over the shoulder of Ramirez.
Eric Hinsky had put the Braves ahead by a run, and then the Giants had some tremendous at-bats. Freddie Sanchez, Aubrey Huff, and they go on and win that game. And you know, to a man, they'll tell you that that was the most difficult game that they had the entire playoff run. If they don't win that game, they don't think that they may not have won that series, let alone move on.
Now, the Braves were within, you're right, one strike of going up 2-1 in that NLDS a couple of times. And it ended up being the end of the road for Bobby Cox. The Giants pausing their celebration to salute him. A great gesture. Bobby Cox, who said, I love Bruce Bochy, one of the best guys in baseball. And if we couldn't win, I'm glad his team did. Freddie Freeman, the batter. And Freeman is going to dunk one into right field. And taking the turn is Hayward. The 21-year-olds connect here back-to-back with singles. The good buddies, Hayward and Freeman. And by the way, Bobby Cox grew up near Fresno, not far from where we sit today. First major league game Bobby Cox ever saw was at old Seal Stadium here in San Francisco. The Cardinals at San Francisco. And now it's Freddie Gonzalez. What a job to take on, boy, replacing Bobby Cox.
But he'd been there for many years, and I think he's got the right personality. You know, I think what happened the other day was real indicative of his ability to stand up for his players. And that was the other day in Los Angeles. Martinez had given up a 2-run shot to Matt Kemp late in the game, and everybody's questioning Freddie Gonzalez. Why did you pitch to Matt Kemp? Well, Kemp was down 0-2, and really it was a horrible pitch by Martinez that allowed the home run, but he was ahead 0-2 and left one right down the middle, and Gonzalez could have said, well, heck, my guy would have thrown it anywhere but down the middle, but he just said, hey, look, these things happen, and kind of took one for the team, stepped on the sword for his player.
Universally liked, no doubt about it, Freddie Gonzalez. He was a catcher in his minor league playing days. He topped out at Double-A. Career 199 hitter. Couldn't quite get to the 200. Down too low, 2-1 to McCann. We talked about earlier, it's shining in this kind of situation this year. 9 of 11 now with runners in scoring position. Taken, and that's a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. 5-1 Atlanta. On a very pleasant afternoon here by the Bay. Got him. Ryan McCann is out, and the last shot for the San Francisco Giants when we return. To Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. The Braves not very likely to score a number like 5 this year. They have been offensively challenged, but they've got 5 for Tim Hudson today, and Tim Hudson has responded with that. He has not walked a batter. Plenty of ground ball outs. There is pitch number 99 of his afternoon. He needs 3 outs, and he's got his 24th complete game in the major leagues. Nobody in that Atlanta bullpen. Now, not for nothing, Mr. Karras, but last inning, the first inning where Hudson came out and started doing this kind of thing, falling behind. And it is now 2-0 to Pat Burrell. Burrell swats it down the left field line. That is down for a base hit. On his way to second base, leadoff double.
Pat Burrell with his second double today. This ball up in the zone. You see how he gets real extension. He gets the bat way out in front of the strike zone and just hooks that ball down in the left field corner. And that's always been a staple of Pat Burrell. Doesn't hit the ball the other way at all. But he covers even the outside part of the plate and is able to hook balls to left field.
You surprised nobody's stirring? Bullpen-wise, there's a pop-up foul.
I'm not, just because it's Tim Hudson on the mound. And I think that if Roger McDowell goes out to the mound, the pitching coach for the Braves, or even Freddie Gonzalez, they're going to say, hey, I got it. And as we mentioned that, David Ross, the second catcher, heading down to the bullpen.
Craig Kimbrell in hot pursuit. Cody Ross bloops one towards left. And Kimbrell's going to start warming up right now.
Well, Cody Ross keeping things moving. Again, his run doesn't mean anything, and neither does Miguel Tejada, who's up at the plate. But if they can get the bases loaded, remember who has not been used and who is at the disposal of Bruce Bochy. That's Buster Posey.
Meantime, it's Tejada, who has been carved up by Hudson today, and really throughout their respective careers, it's been all Hudson. 1 for 15 is Tejada against Tim Hudson. And with Tejada's propensity to hit the ball hard and on the ground, boy, you turn a double play right here. You let that run score from third. Hey, it's 5-2. No big deal. 2 outs, right?
Well, and if you're Miguel Tejada, you've got to look for something up in the zone. Well, even if you're going to make an out, just make 1 out, but don't give them 2.
In the air, center field. To the track to get a run home. But he stayed out of the double play. It is now a 5-2 game. Eli Whiteside will not bat. Nate Shearholtz instead. And they'll save Posey, assuming that Shearholtz can get on. And now Roger McDowell will go out and talk to Tim Hudson. Shearholtz had a monster of a home run the other night against Colorado. Hit the ball 470 feet in Denver. The ball landing within 10 feet of his brother Vi, who was there with a bunch of his Air Force buddies. Not too many go upper tank way out up there. 31st one ever at Coors Field to go up there. Now, if he hits one in the water, it's still just 5-4.
Yeah, the Giants don't need that right now. They just need Shearholtz to get down to first base because the man on deck, he's who they need at the plate as the tying run.
Will Hudson get his complete game? Will the Giants be able to send Buster Posey to the plate? Again, the ground ball has been the coin of the realm for Tim Hudson, not just today, but throughout his career. Well-placed ground ball right here, quickly turned. There is no Buster Posey at that. Kimbrel appears to be ready in the bullpen.
Well, if Buster Posey comes to the plate with still only 1 out, he's going to get Kimbrel. He's not seeing Hudson.
Fouled, and it's 2-2. Shearholtz statistically the second best pinch hitter in baseball since '08, behind Ryan Spilborghs in Colorado. It's a guy that the Giants don't mind having up. Bounce to the plate. Quick throw, first base, not in time. That's the first one that's bounced like that all day for Tim Hudson.
Brian McCann doing everything he can just to stay in front of it. It ends up right in his glove, and his momentum's carrying towards first. Figures, what the heck, I might make a throw here. Now, Tim Hudson has to throw a fastball right down the middle here. You've got to make Shearholtz earn this.
That one
with the off speed.
Yeah, kind of dive bombing down and in, and it stays 3-2. Hudson has not walked a batter today. Not yet.
Well, a gutsy pitch after bouncing one in the previous pitch.
Runner not going. We'll see an 8th pitch of this at bat. By the way, the producer of today's game, Jeff Gowan, the director, Jim Lynch, Associate Director Eric Billingmeyer, Associate Producer Andy Kavanaugh. Happy 30th tomorrow, Andy. Our technical producer, Dan Rotante, Technical Director Simon Benzara. He got him. 2 down. And out comes Freddie Gonzalez. 8 2/3 for Tim Hudson. Not quite the complete game.
I like this move, though. And the reason I like it, you don't allow Tim Hudson to have to face Posey in this situation. Let Kimbrel come in. He's here to close. They've got a 5-2 lead. Braves up.
Those of you who are watching that game back there in just a bit, right here, Craig Kimbrel with 1 on, 2 out. Buster Posey pinch hitting. It is 5-2 with the Braves over the Giants. Kimbrel saved the game last night, throwing only 13 pitches. Boy, and Tim Hudson, who is not known for what Kimbrel is known for, the strikeout, well, he got a big one his last act today. Runner goes, and no challenge. It was a long at bat that Hudson had, Mr. Karras, with the pinch hitter Nate Schierholtz. But Hudson taking something off, finally winning out.
Well, he went with the fastball. He went up in the zone, and Giant hitters looking for something low. Now, this really isn't an off day. I mean, Buster Posey doesn't have to catch all day long, but have to come in, face Craig Kimbrel in a crucial situation.
Looking for back-to-back saves here in San Francisco. Did he? No. Tying man on deck. And the 2-2. In the air, center field. Ball game. The Braves have beaten the Giants today. Tim Hudson almost all the way. A little bit of help right at the end. And what an afternoon for Tim Hudson. Cardinals and Reds soon to be going again. Joe Buck is standing by for some of you. Well, meantime, right here, Tim Hudson and the Braves can celebrate. We'll wrap things up from San Francisco after these words from your local Fox stations.